You have older kids, high school aged kids, but you still want what's best for them. You haven't given up on them yet. You moved to Toronto. You want to know what are some of the best high schools that they could potentially attend. Just like the previous video that I did, which was about elementary schools, I'm going to go through the top 5 most sought after high schools in Toronto. They're not necessarily the best. They're not necessarily the top 5 that have the highest kind of academic rating or anything like that, but they're the ones that I hear about the most. They have the kind of highest reputation, I guess, if you will. They're the ones that people go, if I want to live in this part of the city, I want to make sure that my kid is in this catchment for that particular high school. So we're going to go over that list. But before I get into that, I want to make note, because if you've seen the other video, high schools have a much larger catchment area. First of all, it's great because we've got more data in terms of the housing and the average prices and all that kind of stuff. But second of all, you could be living fairly far away from the school, but still be in that school's catchment area. So I just want to make note that when I go over the borders and stuff like that, you could still be a fair distance away from where the school is actually located. I'll go over each school's location, but then I'll also go over the boundaries of each catchment area to show you how far away your kid could potentially be. So the first school I'm going to start off with is Leaside. And a little bit of bias here. My wife teaches there. Our office, Bosley Real Estate, the office that I work out of, is located in Leaside. So we've got certainly a lot of familiarity. The school itself is found in, you guessed it, Leaside. So if you're looking at the map here, that red pin is where the school is. It's very close to Eglinton Avenue East. But the catchment extends north to like kind of the Sherwood Park area through Thorncliffe, encompasses like, Bennington Heights and kind of like maybe a small section of like Rosedale, sort of. And then across the Mount Pleasant Cemetery, and that major road there is Mount Pleasant. And then there's this like kind of little section out here that as of right now is included in Leaside, but I believe that little rectangle is actually going to be changing in terms of if you live in that section, it's not going to be Leaside anymore. It might be a different school. Always make sure to double check your address in the TDSB Find Your School tool on their website just to make sure. But that's the boundaries. But again, the school itself, very close to North Leaside, close to Eglinton Avenue East. It has a Fraser Institute rating of 9.2, so it obviously has excellent academics. It has a French immersion program, which draws a lot of people from actually outside of that boundary. People who are living in East York, closest to Leaside, that would be the French immersion school that their kid would go to if they need French immersion programming. It draws a very kind of diverse group of people. It's not just from that section there, but also, like I said, East York as well. Leaside, for as long as I've known it, has very good sports programs. And the reason that I know this is over 10 years ago, I used to teach up in the Simcoe County District School Board. I used to live in Alliston, and a friend and I coached the high school baseball team. And, we did very well one year with a particular team and went to kind of provincial championships. And we always kind of heard about Leaside and their program. And, if we were to come up against them, that it would be a tough challenge and everything like that. We didn't end up playing against them, but it was just something that was on our radar kind of like even over 10 years ago. And certainly Leaside still has very strong, not only academics, but athletic programs, as well as the languages, as I mentioned. Leaside itself is a very family-friendly neighborhood, very tight-knit community, and it has good amenities. So like there's a great arena that's there with 2 different ice pads. You got great walkability with stuff along Bayview and stuff along Laird. So lots of like big box, little kind of family-owned shops, all kinds of stuff. Average prices. Because it's a much larger catchment area, I'm able to do houses and condos. I wouldn't say that this is a particularly condo-dense area, but there was enough. The average condo price in that area is $838,000, and the average home is $2.4 million. The next school on our list isn't terribly far away, and it's still kind of in that central part of Toronto, and it's Lawrence Park Collegiate. So if you're looking at the map here, you'll see that red pin. This road right here, that is Lawrence. So it's just south of Lawrence, kind of located in the Lawrence Park South neighborhood. Some people might argue that that's kind of like North Lytton Park. I would not be one of those people, but it certainly serves a large portion of Lytton Park, which I would think is kind of down here. But you've got kind of Wanless Park over here. You've got Lawrence Park South, Lawrence Park North, little bit of Bedford Park, which is kind of more to the top section up here. So it serves a number of different neighborhoods, all very affluent areas. And the thing that I want you to notice about this map is you can see that there's a light blue section and then kind of a darker blue section. So this section here, and then this section here as well. I believe that's because the borders, the boundaries of the school are changing. Lawrence Park fills up, its attendance is quite full, and so they're changing the boundaries so that, if you ended up living in, like, let's say up here in that section of North Toronto, that you would end up attending a different school. So, people who are living there right now go to Lawrence Park, but if you were to move there, let's say next year, probably during the 2025-2026 school year, probably the student would be attending a different school in the 2026-2027 school year. Again, assuming that they weren't already in Lawrence Park. Typically, people who are already at the school can stay there. So it'd be kind of new people to the neighborhood. So Lawrence Park has a Fraser Institute rating of 9.5, which obviously is outstanding. Also has, shocking, French immersion and extended French programs. Lawrence Park is a bit unique in the sense that it may not necessarily be the best kind of STEM school or have the best STEM programming or arts or athletics, but all very, very good kind of programs in those science and arts and athletics kind of programs. And so the school is known for having really great balance. And so, your child can get kind of exposure to different kinds of programs in an excellent fashion by attending Lawrence Park. The other thing that's interesting, something that was told to me by somebody who works at the school, is that a large portion of the parent community also attended Lawrence Park when they were a kid. So there's like generational attendance at the school. So you've got very strong kind of school spirit and very strong community involvement because of that kind of generational attendance. People kind of feel very kind of drawn to that school where they grew up and now their kids are going there, the whole alma mater thing, whatever the case is. Pricing is high in that area. The average home year-to-date 2025 sale price is $2.43 million, and condos, not a lot of them, but they tend to be very large, predominantly for kind of downsizers, but certainly could be suitable for a family. The average condo sale price in that area is $1.32 million. Third on our list is Earl Haig Secondary, not to be confused with Earl Haig Public School. Earl Haig Secondary is located in East Willowdale, which is like Yonge and Shepherd kind of area, north of the 401. Earl Haig Public School is actually located in East York, kind of closer to like East Danforth. So Danforth and Woodbine kind of area. So please don't confuse the two of them. The thing that I want you to know when we look at the map here, you will see that the boundary, the catchment is littered with lots of different kind of pockets that are just not included in the kind of boundary areas. And this is because Yonge and Shepherd, Bayview and Shepherd, there's a couple of smaller pockets that you might not be able to see, but I'm going to circle them kind of along Bayview. That whole area has undergone a ton of condo development and townhouse development and stuff like that over the years. Earl Haig is an old school. All the schools in Toronto, for the most part, are old. This area in particular has undergone so much development. The school's already full that, if you happen to be living in some of these pockets, your child won't be able to go to Earl Haig unless under some kind of like special circumstances or something like that. So again, please make sure that you double check addresses of places that you're thinking of purchasing, because it's very important, especially if it's condos or townhouses. You might be moving to an area and think your kid's going to have like a quick walk to school or whatever, and it turns out that they will not. So as I mentioned, Earl Haig Secondary is located right over here in East Willowdale, pretty close to Yonge Street. So here is Yonge, there's the 401, here's Leslie, so it's just west of Leslie. This is Finch, and so it skirts up just a little bit above Finch, and then this kind of major road right through here is Bayview. So you're talking Yonge, Bayview, Finch across the top, 401 across the bottom. It has a Fraser Institute rating of 8.8, so obviously very academically strong. Now, what's interesting about Earl Haig is that it has a renowned arts program. It's called the Claude Watson Arts Program. It is a big magnet for the school. People who, have a child who is kind of excelling in the arts, or maybe they want them to excel in the arts, whatever the case is, that makes Earl Haig a destination school because of that art program. The average year-to-date sale price for homes is $2.184 million, so just a little under 2.2. In this area, I mentioned how much condo development there is. So the condos are actually quite affordable in Toronto prices because there's so much condo density. Buyers have that much more choice, and there's a lot of competition for sellers. Your average condo price in that area is just a little under $700,695. Number 4 on our list is on the east side of the city and is located in a very, very popular neighborhood. The school is Malvern Secondary. Please note, it is located in beaches, upper beaches area, which is kind of like lower southeast side of Toronto. Do not confuse it with Malvern Junior Public School or Malvern, the neighborhood, both of which are located in Scarborough, north of the 401. So you don't want to kind of get those two things mixed up when you're kind of doing your initial search. I showed you the location. Here is the school itself, and the borders are obviously the lake, kind of skirts up along until you get to kind of the Birchcliff area. There's like a golf club there, so kind of on the outside of the golf club. This is Kingston Road, and then cuts up to the train tracks. So there's like the GO tracks that kind of run along the north side, cutting across around a park. And then the western border is not necessarily a major road, because you can see Woodbine is right here. So it just kind of follows some kind of side streets and stuff like that in a fairly straight north-south line on the west side. And I want to apologize. I think earlier I called it Malvern Secondary. It's Malvern Collegiate. So just make sure that you're kind of finding the right thing. Anyway, so there are the borders. That's the area. The Fraser Institute rating is a 9. So very high academic performance. It, surprise, surprise, also has French immersion and extended French. It actually also has a renowned marching band. So, if you have a musically inclined student, it's got a great music program. And a lot of high schools have what the teachers refer to as schism. It's a specialist high skills majors program. And so the idea is that they can attend specialized classes that are specialized skills, so not just like science and math, but the high school that I taught at up in Alliston, they had like an agricultural specialist high skills majors where students were learning about farm and animal husbandry and that kind of stuff, because it's very kind of rural and lots of like farm kids live up that way. So that was an important part of education. At this school, they have a specialized program centering around health and wellness. So that's kind of an interesting kind of thing and a bit of a draw for that school as well. The average year-to-date sale price for that particular area, again, it's a pretty affluent area. The beach is very kind of high in demand, not just for the school, but the location itself, the neighborhood, is $1.82 million. And for condos, $937,000 would be the average for 2025 so far. Last school on our list is Humberside Collegiate. Don't confuse that with Humber Bay Shores. It's not terribly far away, but it's a different area and is kind of dominated by condos. Humberside Collegiate is located right here in High Park North. So you see here's High Park. This square right here is kind of High Park North. You can see that it also serves West Bend and areas of the Junction, a little bit of the Stockyards. Oh, I think the boundaries are changing, but little slice of the Stockyards right now. You've also got Swansea over here, and you've got kind of Bloor West Village and kind of like a Runnymede area there as well. Where the school specifically is located is quite affluent, but because it also incorporates the housing in Junction and West Bend, it actually brings the average price for this area down to the lowest of all the 5 that we talked about so far. The average year-to-date home sale price in that area is $1.68 million. So your child could attend an excellent high school, and you could be still living in a great neighborhood like West Bend or like the Junction, and not necessarily have to pay the astronomical prices that you would if you were Bloor West Village, High Park, or some of the properties in and around Swansea. Average condo, again, not a ton of condos in this part of the city, but there are some, especially along Bloor and especially down in this south part, closer to the lake, the south part of Swansea. There's a lot of condos down there as well. Average condo is $777,000. Humberside Collegiate has a Fraser Institute rating of 8.9. It also has French immersion and extended French programs, and similar to Lawrence Park, it's got a very good balance of programs. So you'll find strong arts programs, strong science programs, and very good athletics, extracurriculars, that kind of stuff. Also has a very well-regarded Latin and classical studies program. So if that's something that's important to you or important to your child, that would be a school to target if you're looking to live on the west side. The other thing that makes this a little bit different from some of the other schools is that it is a non-semestered school. So what that means is your student would be enrolled in, depending on what age they're in, 7 to 8 classes, and they're taking 3 or 4 one day, and then the other 3 or 4 the next day, and they're just constantly rotating days, as opposed to a semestered school where they would take 4 of the same classes. So like, let's say English, French, math, and phys ed. And they would do those 4 classes every day from September to probably January when there's exams. And then another 3 or 4, again, depending on their age and grade, from January-ish to the end of the school year. So non-semestered school, not sure if that matters to you or not, but just thought I'd put that on your radar. So those are the 5 that I came up with. Again, not necessarily the best schools. If you go to the Fraser Institute website and you just kind of rank all the high schools, the top 5 are not going to be those 5, but certainly these schools are all, for the most part, very strong academic kind of performers. But I'm curious to know if there are any schools that you thought should have been on the list, or at least are kind of notable mentions. So, if I'd expanded it to 10, what other 5 do you think kind of should be mentioned on that list? I'm curious to know, what your thoughts are and what you're hearing based on from your friends and what schools, or maybe even what are you hearing from your own kids if you have high school aged kids. I certainly would be curious to know. If you're willing to comment below. If you found this video helpful, please please subscribe. It'll help my videos kind of stay on your radar if you're enjoying them and if you're finding them helpful. And if you haven't seen the one that I did about the top 5 elementary schools that people seek out, you may want to check that out as well in case your kids are not as old and you're more interested in elementary schools. So thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next one.